there, friends. I'm really glad you're here today. Let me ask you something. Have you ever come home from running a few errands, groceries in hand, and just when you're about to take the elevator, it's out of service? You stare at the stairs. 3 flights. You sigh, grab the railing, and start climbing. You're not racing. You take your time, step by step, and when you reach the top, you're a little winded, but you're fine. You unlock your door, take a deep breath, and think to yourself, still got it. Now that might seem like no big deal, but it actually is. It's a huge deal. At 70, doing something as simple as climbing stairs without gasping for air is proof. Proof that your heart is still strong, that your lungs are still doing their job, that your body still says, let's go. See, most people don't celebrate moments like that, but maybe we should. Because those moments, they're quiet victories. According to the American Heart Association, by the time you're 70, your aerobic capacity could drop by as much as 40% from what it was in your 30s. That's just biology doing its thing. But if you can still take those stairs without needing a break every few steps, you're not following the curve, you're beating it. There was this fascinating study in Europe where they asked older adults to climb 3 flights of stairs in under 90 seconds. That's it. No gym, no machines, just stairs. The results? People who could do it had a significantly lower risk of heart problems in the next 10 years, just from a staircase. So yeah, it's not just about going upstairs to grab your favorite sweater. It's about what that action says. I'm still here. I'm still capable. I'm still moving. So yeah, it's not just about going upstairs to grab your favorite sweater. It's about what that action says. I'm still here. I'm still capable. I'm still moving. I've got a neighbor, Bobby. He's 74 now. Used to run marathons in his younger days, but a few years back, he had knee surgery and a minor stroke. The stairs at his daughter's house started to feel like a mountain, but one day he said, I want to try it. Just 2 flights, no cane, no help. So we did it together, slowly, steadily. And when we reached the top, he looked at me with this grin and said, today, I felt like an athlete again. It wasn't about the stairs, it was about dignity, about proving to himself that he could. And that's the thing. Climbing stairs is more than just a physical task. It's a mindset, a quiet kind of resilience. You don't climb because someone told you to. You climb because you've got a reason. Maybe it's to hear that old record player in your bedroom. Maybe it's for a piece of chocolate you hid in the kitchen. Doesn't matter. What matters is you went for it. And maybe, just maybe, we should treat those stairs like a little personal challenge, something to celebrate. No need to rush. But if you can climb 1 flight without feeling like you ran a marathon, that's not small. That's you winning. Sometimes we get so caught up in what we used to do, we forget to honor what we're still doing. But today, your body got you up those steps. That deserves some respect. So next time you see a staircase, don't groan. Smile. It's your mini stage, your proof that you're still in charge, still strong, still here. And speaking of being still here, I've got one more question for you. Do you remember why you went upstairs in the first place? In our next episode, we'll talk about memory, specifically the simple act of remembering what you had for lunch yesterday. You'll be surprised how that tiny detail says a lot about how sharp your mind still is. See you there. And remember, every step you take today is proof that you're doing more than aging. You're thriving. Last time, we talked about something simple, climbing a flight of stairs, and how that one small action can actually be a quiet sign of strength and independence. Today, we're not talking about legs or lungs. Today, we're shifting gears to something quieter, something softer, but just as important. So, let me ask you, do you remember what you had for lunch yesterday? Now hang on. Before you laugh or roll your eyes, hear me out. If you can answer that question easily, maybe you say, "Oh yeah, I had some chicken soup and whole grain bread." Then that's not just about food. That's a signal, a sign that your memory's still working, your mind's still sharp, and you're still connected to the world around you. Memory isn't just about facts and dates. It's about staying present, being rooted in your own story. And just like a muscle, if you don't use it, well, it gets weaker. But here's the good news. You can train it. And something as small as remembering lunch, that's a great start. Memory is kind of like a window. It lets you stay in touch with life, with smells, sounds, people, and laughter. It keeps your experiences alive. And in your 70s, memory becomes even more precious. According to the Alzheimer's Association, roughly 1 in 9 adults over the age of 65 experiences some form of cognitive decline. That's a real number. But here's the other side of the coin. If you're still remembering what you ate, what your grandkid said at the dinner table, or the way that coffee smelled yesterday afternoon, that's a powerful sign your brain is still firing on all cylinders. And that's worth celebrating. Let me tell you about Margaret. She's the grandmother of one of my closest friends. She's 76 now, and sharp as ever. Every time there's a family dinner, she remembers exactly who sat where, who reached for the last piece of pie, and even what music was playing in the background. We all laugh and shake our heads when she tells these little stories. But deep down, we know it means something, that her mind is still active, that she's still here. She once told me, "If I can remember how my granddaughter's chocolate mousse tasted, then life is still sweet." And I've never forgotten that line. So how do you keep your memory in shape? Turns out, it's not about doing brain games on your phone all day. It's about staying engaged, reading, talking, laughing, playing cards, telling stories, little things that keep your brain dancing. Even what you eat matters. Blueberries, walnuts, leafy greens. These foods actually nourish your memory. So if you can still recall your lunch, right down to the flavor of the soup or the crunch of the bread, you're doing more than remembering. You're showing that your mind is still alive and well. And it's not just about recalling food, it's about sharing it. Imagine your grandkid asking, "Grandma, what did you eat yesterday?" And you light up and say, "Well, I had the best grilled cheese and tomato soup. It took me right back to when your dad was little." That's not just memory. That's connection. That's legacy. A lot of people think memory loss hits all at once, but more often it creeps in slowly. A missed appointment here, a name forgotten there, a story that starts strong but fizzles out halfway through. But if today you can look back 24 hours and recall even one warm moment or one tasty bite, you're still fully present. And hey, we all have days when we lose track of things, can't find the car keys, walk into a room and forget why. But as long as you can laugh about it, you're doing okay. That's part of it too, being able to laugh when you forget. That's a healthy mind, not a failing one. So here's a little challenge for you. After this video ends, tell someone what you had for lunch yesterday. Try to recall the details, the taste, the texture, maybe even the conversation that came with it. Because if you can still remember and share those tiny pieces of your day, it means you're still writing your story, still living it. And speaking of stories, in our next episode, we're going to talk about something that might surprise you. Balance. Not life balance. We're talking physical balance. Because get this, being able to stand on one leg for 10 seconds, that's a major clue about your strength, your brain, and even how long you might live. See you in the next one. And remember, if you remembered your lunch today, you're not just holding on to memories. You're proving that your mind is strong, your heart is warm, and your life is still beautifully yours. Last time, we talked about memory and how something as small as remembering what you had for lunch can be a powerful sign that your mind is still active and alive. But today, we're shifting from the mind back to the body. And I've got a little challenge for you. Go ahead, stand up. Yep, right now. Now, lift one foot off the ground, just one, and try to balance for 10 seconds. Still standing? If you are, congratulations, because you just passed one of the most surprising longevity tests out there. I'm serious. A study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine found that people in their 70s who could stand on one foot for just 10 seconds, no support, had a much lower risk of serious health issues in the years to come. Some even had a 50% lower risk, all from standing like a flamingo. So, what's the big deal about balance? Well, balance is a mix of strength, coordination, and brain power. When you stand on one foot, your whole body gets involved. Your legs, your core, and even your brain. Your muscles tighten, your posture adjusts, and your brain sends constant signals to keep you upright. And if you can still pull that off at 70, that says something big. It says your nervous system's still working, your muscles are still responding, you still have control. Let me tell you a story. I was at the park once and saw this older guy, Harold, playing with his grandkid. The kid was showing off some yoga moves and said, "Grandpa, try standing like a flamingo." Without missing a beat, Harold lifted one foot, smiled, and held the pose. 10 seconds, 15, even 20. Everyone nearby gave him a little applause. And Harold? He just laughed and said, "Guess I still got it." But that wasn't just a joke. That moment said a lot more. It meant his body was still capable, his brain was still connected, and his spirit still full of life. But here's something even more important than showing off balance: preventing falls. Because falling is one of the biggest risks as we get older. One bad fall can lead to broken bones, a long hospital stay, and losing the ability to live on your own. But good balance, that's your shield. If you can stay steady, you're protecting your freedom. Now, if you couldn't hit 10 seconds today, don't worry. Seriously, just like strength, balance can be trained. Start small. Try 5 seconds. Hold on to a chair or a wall. Let your body learn. Then slowly let go. Balance isn't about being perfect. It's about progress. It's about saying, "Hey, I'm still here, and I'm still trying." There's also a kind of peace that comes with practicing balance. When you focus on standing still, you start noticing your body more, your breath, your posture, your thoughts. It's like a mini meditation, a reminder to slow down and listen to yourself. And that's powerful too. So today, give it a try. Stand up, lift one foot, breathe. Even if you wobble a bit, even if it's just for a few seconds, that's something to be proud of. Because a lot of younger folks can't even do that. But you're still standing tall. That says more than words ever could. Next time, we're going to talk about something just as important, but a whole lot more fun: laughter. Yeah, you heard me right. We'll dive into why a deep, hearty laugh might just be one of the best medicines out there. Last time, we talked about balance, about how standing on one foot for 10 seconds isn't just a physical test. It's a sign that your body and brain are still working together like a team. But today, we're talking about something even more powerful, something that doesn't require strength or balance or perfect health. Today, we're talking about laughter. Yeah, that deep, belly-shaking, eye-watering kind of laughter, the kind that makes your whole body move, the kind that makes you forget your worries for just a second. If you can still laugh like that, you're doing something right. See, laughter isn't just a fun reaction. It's a survival tool. It's your body and soul saying, hey, we're still in this together. There's research out of Stanford that shows laughter helps lower stress hormones, boost the immune system, and even raise pain tolerance. So no, laughter isn't just a nice thing. It's a healing thing. I've got this old friend named George. He's 78. And you know what I admire most about him? He laughs. A lot. Even in tough times. When his car got washed away in a flood, he just shrugged and said, "That car swam farther than I did in high school." Then he laughed so hard he cried. That's not denial. That's resilience. Because the truth is, life doesn't get easier as we age. We lose people. Our bodies slow down. The world spins faster than we'd like. But the ability to laugh through it, that means your heart is still strong. One night, I was sitting with my grandma. She was 82 at the time. She started telling me how Grandpa used to mix up everyone's names. One time, she said, he called the dog by our grandson's name. And then she just lost it, laughing until she was coughing. But in that moment, I saw something special. Her joy, her spark, her light. Even after everything life had thrown her way, she still had room for laughter. Laughter also connects us. Think about the last time you laughed with someone, not just at something. Maybe an old friend, a silly memory, a movie you've seen 100 times. That kind of laughter bridges years. It pulls us closer. It reminds us we're not alone. Even laughing at yourself when you lose your glasses and they're on your head the whole time, that counts too. And honestly, it's one of the healthiest things you can do. So if you're still laughing at dad jokes, sitcoms, or the silly things your grandkids say, guess what? You're not just surviving, you're thriving. And believe it or not, people who live the longest, it's not always because they eat kale or run marathons. Many of them have one thing in common. They laugh a lot. In places like Okinawa, Japan, where folks regularly live to 100 and beyond, they gather in tight-knit groups. They share stories. They tease each other. And yes, they laugh. Together. Often. They know life can be hard. But laughter makes it feel lighter. So here's a little challenge for today. Watch something funny. Call up an old friend and remember something ridiculous you did. Look in the mirror and say, you know what? I'm kind of hilarious. Then, just let yourself laugh. Really laugh. It's not silly. It's medicine. It's your soul exhaling. And in our final episode, we're going to talk about 2 things that make life rich and meaningful, especially as we grow older. Friendship and cooking. Not just about food, but about connection, about caring, about staying independent and alive in your own way. I'll see you there. And just remember, if you laugh today, even just for a moment, that means your spirit is still shining, your heart is still open, and you're still very much here. I'm proud of you. We've talked about climbing stairs, about memory, about balance, about laughter, and now we've come to our final chapter. But don't worry, this one isn't about slowing down. It's about what keeps you going. Today, we're talking about 2 things that may seem simple on the surface, but they carry deep, powerful meaning, especially at 70 and beyond. Friendship and cooking. Imagine this. You wake up, head to the kitchen, start your morning routine. Maybe you're making coffee, maybe it's oatmeal or toast. Later that afternoon, you're meeting an old friend for lunch. The day feels full, not because of appointments or errands, but because you have something to do and someone to share it with. That's it. That's the magic, connection, and independence. Let's start with friendship. See, getting older can sometimes feel lonely. People move away, loved ones pass on. The world gets louder and somehow quieter at the same time. But if you're still calling up a friend, making someone laugh, or even making new friends, that means your soul is still very much alive. According to the National Institute on Aging, nearly 1 in 3 adults over 70 struggle with serious loneliness. And it's not just sad, it's dangerous. It can impact your physical health, your memory, even your heart. But the good news? Friendship is one of the most powerful medicines on earth. A phone call, a coffee date, a walk around the block with someone who knows your story. I'll never forget Mrs. Linda. She's 81 and lives just down the road. Every week, she and 3 of her lifelong girlfriends meet on her front porch. They sit in rocking chairs, drink tea, gossip about TV shows, and talk about nothing and everything. They laugh, they connect, and let me tell you, there's more life in that porch than in half the gyms in town. That's not just friendship, that's joy on repeat. Now let's talk about something that may not seem like a big deal, but trust me, it is. Cooking. If you can still cook for yourself, even just a simple meal, you're showing the world something powerful. You're still independent. You're still in control. You still care for yourself. Cooking is physical. It takes strength, movement, and focus. But it's also emotional. Cooking is love, with spices. And studies show that older adults who cook for themselves are more likely to stay healthy, avoid chronic illness, and live longer. Why? Because they're making choices. They're staying active. They're staying engaged. But cooking isn't just about health. It's about memory, about identity. Maybe it's your grandmother's chicken soup recipe, or a dish your spouse used to love. Maybe it's a meal you cooked on your honeymoon, or a breakfast you made for your kids every Sunday. When you stir that pot, or flip that pancake, or sprinkle that seasoning, you're bringing the past into the present. And if you cook for a friend, that's the full circle. Nourishment and connection, all in one. So today, if you made your own meal, even if it was just scrambled eggs, you didn't just feed yourself. You stood tall in your independence. You honored your life, your body, and your story. And if you shared a meal or a laugh or a moment with someone you care about, you're already richer than most people realize. Now here we are at the end of our 5-part journey. If you can still climb stairs, remember yesterday's lunch, stand on one leg, laugh until your belly hurts, cook a warm meal, and sit across from a friend with stories to share. Then listen closely. You're winning. You might not get a medal. No one's handing out trophies. But you've conquered something much greater than any race or prize. You've conquered the idea that getting older means fading away. You've shown the world and yourself that aging can mean thriving, loving, laughing, and living fully. So I want to leave you with this. If you've come this far with me, I'm proud of you, truly, deeply. Not just for what you've done, but for who you are. Because you're still standing, still showing up, still shining. Thank you for sharing your time with me across these 5 episodes. Keep moving, keep connecting, keep cooking with love, and above all, keep living your life like it still matters, because it absolutely 100% does. Until next time, stay strong, stay kind, stay amazing.